Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Govinda Shri Radhe. Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Jagannath Jaya Jagannath Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. श्री श्री राधा गोविंद देव जी की, श्री श्री गौरताय की जय, जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा माई की जय, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिविचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद डिवाइन ग्रेस एसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, जनताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ऑल ग्लोरीज टू assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, all glories to Lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. Namo Shivaya Krishna Prasthaputaresha Indra Samtinam. Namo Shivaya Krishna Prasthaputaresha Indra Samtinam. Thank you for coming, everyone. The glorification of Srimad Bhagavatam on Sunday morning. We're going to study Canto 1, Chapter 3, Krishna is the source of all incarnations, and we'll try to see how many verses we can discuss today. We're starting from 7, text 7. Please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So text number 7, studying now, bro? So we are studying from Canto 1, the creation. Chapter 3, Krishna is the source of all incarnations, in text 7. Dvitiyam tu bhavayasya rasatalagatam mahim uddharishyannupadatta yagnesha saukaram vapuhu. Dvitiyam tu bhavayasya rasatalagatam mahim uddharishyannupadatta yagnesha saukaram vapuhu. Dvitiyam tu bhavayasya rasatalagatam mahim uddharishyannupadatta yagnesha saukaram vapuhu. Dvitiyam tu bhavayasya rasatalagatam mahim uddharishyannupadatta yagnesha saukaram vapuhu. Dvitiyam tu bhavayasya rasatalagatam mahim
uddharishyannupadatta yagnesha saukaram vapuhu.
Dvitiyam tu bhavayasya rasatalagatam mahim uddharishyannupadatta yagnesha saukaram vapuhu. Dvitiyam tu bhavayasya rasatalagatam mahim uddharishyannupadatta yagnesha saukaram vapuhu. Dvitiyam tu bhavayasya rasatalagatam mahim uddharishyannupadatta yagnesha saukaram vapuhu. So word to word. Dvitiyam, the second.
Dvitiyam, the second.
Tu, but. Bhavaya, for the welfare. Asya, of this earth. Rasatala, of the lowest region. Gatam, having gone. Mahim, the earth. Uddarishan, lifting. Upadatta, established. Yagneshaha, the proprietor of the supreme enjoyer. Shaukaram, hoggish. Vapu, incarnations. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The supreme enjoyer of all sacrifices accepted the incarnation of a boar, the second incarnation, welfare of the earth. He lifted the earth from the nether regions of the universe. Purport. The indication is that for each and every incarnation of the personality of Godhead, the particular function executed is also mentioned. There cannot be an incarnation without a particular function, and such functions are always extraordinary. They are impossible for any living being to perform. The incarnation of the boar was to take the earth out of Pluto's region of filthy matter. Picking up something from a filthy place is done by a boar, and the all-powerful personality of Godhead displayed this wonder to the Asuras, who had hidden the earth in such a filthy place. There is nothing impossible for the personality of Godhead, and although he played the part of a boar, by the devotees he is worshipped, staying always in transcendence. So please recite the Mangalacharana together. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utpadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Harijan Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So here we start description of course we started from last week description of the four Kumaras, and we continue the description of all the incarnations of the Lord, which is again coming from one of the questions of the sages of Naimisharanya. So Prabhupada mentions here in the purport, he says, the indication is that for each and every incarnation of the personality of Godhead, the particular function executed is also mentioned. And of course we know that in all the incarnations, one most important one is the transaction of love. He wants to show the affection to his devotees. So Jayadeva Goswami sings for the boar incarnations, for the Shukra Rupa. He says, Vasati dasani sikre dharani tav lagna shashini kalanka kaleva nimagna Keshava Dhrita Shukra Rupa Jayadagdisha Hare. So this is the third stanza of the Dashavatara Stotra, very nicely composed. So basically he is glorifying the Shukra incarnation, the boar incarnation, but he says, yes, all glories to the Lord, all glories to the Lord who came in the form of a boar who lifted the earth on his tusk and from the lowest of the regions. And how does the earth look? Like a spot on the moon. It's so beautiful. It's like a spot on the moon. So Shashini Kalanka, we can see there's a spot on the moon. There's a Shashini Kalanka, Kaleva Nimagna. So it's like almost when the earth was immersed in the water, and when Varahadev picks the earth up, it's like beautiful spot on the moon. So of course these are the brief descriptions given here in this chapter of all the incarnations, and later on in more detail the incarnations will be described. Many places we can see that there's description of all these incarnations. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also, he was once hearing the glories of Varahadev, and then suddenly he took the form of the boar. And he was going to Murari Gupta's house. Murari Gupta was his personal associate, his personal physician, and he was going to his house, and he suddenly took the form of a boar, and he started shouting, Shukra, Shukra, Shukra. Shukra also means boar, Keshavadhrita Shukra Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of course, as we know, he is Krishna himself, and he goes to Murari Gupta. Murari Gupta has never seen something like this, and then he sees. But we also know that Murari Gupta also was very fascinated that, yes, my Lord, he was confused, and then he realized that this is, my Lord himself, and that he is, appreciating his beauty. So similarly, one time, when the artists were painting the painting of Varahadev, and they, Prabhupada, because the Lord, when he comes in incarnation, he has to be very beautiful. But can we imagine in our limited imagination a pig, a boar being beautiful? So no. But Prabhupada said yes. And then they asked a question. He says, the boar is 4 hoofs, 4 legs, 4 hoofs. But the description is there in the Bhagavatam that it is got all 4 hoofs. Prabhupada said, no, it's okay. You can have 2 hands. You can paint it as 2 hands, and then 2 hoofs like that. So if you see any of the authorized paintings of ISKCON, you will see that the Varahadev painting is, he's got 2 hands and then 2 hoofs at the bottom. The hind legs are the 2 hoofs and the 2 hands are there. And Prabhupada specifically told them that paint the picture or painting of Varahadev as beautiful as you can. As beautiful as you can. So of course, from our limited vision, we cannot appreciate the beauty of Varahadev, but when we see the glories and when we see the descriptions, and that is why we are asked to study the scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam. As they say that a Kanisht Adhikari sees the scriptures through their emotions. So we see the scriptures through our emotions. If something doesn't appeal to our intelligence, we'll try to reject it, right? If something is, not according to our current situation, we'll say, nah, that's not true. But as we know, when Prabhupada has written, when scriptures have written, every word is absolute truth. Every word is absolute truth. So Kanisht Adhikari sees the scriptures through his emotions, but a Madhyam Adhikari sees their emotions through the scriptures. So if they are studying scriptures and this description there, yes, Varahadev is very beautiful, then when they see, next time you see the picture of Varahadev somewhere, Varahadvadashi, is coming, and then you'll see, Varahadev looks so beautiful, because the description is given, what he did. And what he did is, he did for the welfare of the earth. Right? The Dashavatar Stotra says, he did the welfare of the earth. So what did he do? He picked up the earth from the nether regions. Prabhupada translates as, in the purport he writes as Pluto's region. Very filthy place. You can imagine hardly any sunlight goes there. And there's no place, it's all just like a dirty place, smelly. And who will go there? Only a boar will go there, only a pig will go there. So Krishna took the incarnation of a boar. He had to do this function because Brahma is thinking, Manu and Satrupa are here and they want to, have procreation done. but there's no place. Earth is down there. So then he requested, so Lord came as Varahadev, and then he picked up the earth and then brought it to its original place. So we also know that from the scriptures that there are two Varahadevs. One is the Shweta Varaha and one is the Rakta Varaha. So Shweta means white and Rakta means red. So Rakta is reddish color, so Shweta Varaha. In Mathura, if you go next time, of course we go to Vrindavan, but when you go to Mathura, there are very beautiful temples. Small temples, very quaint temples, not very popular, but there's a very nice temple of Shweta Varaha and a very nice temple of Rakta Varaha. So Shweta Varaha, as we see here, that the function is to lift the Mother Earth from the nether regions. And the Rakta Varaha comes, when does he come? To kill Hiranyaksha. To kill Hiranyaksha. So when Hiranyaksha has become very powerful, then Rakta Varaha comes. Yeah? And Varahadev, the body is actually the personification of knowledge. He is, described in the scriptures, because Brahmaji also, his body is made of knowledge, and the Rakta Varaha comes out of the nostril of Brahmaji. So, like that. So in this case, what is the message given to us? Last time we said, okay, if you want to reflect on this incarnation, then what is the message given to us here? What can we understand from the incarnation of Varahadev? What message can we take? Anyone?
Nothing is impossible for Supreme Lord.
Okay, very good. And nothing is impossible for the Supreme Lord. Yes, very nice. For him to lift Mother Earth is no big deal. Yes. Like we see the description of Ananta Shesh holding millions of universes, and for him it's like a mustard seed. The description is also given. Anyone else? What message can we get from Varahadev picking up Mother Earth from the dirtiest region?
That he cannot tolerate the distress of his devotees.
Okay, very good. He cannot tolerate distress of his devotees. So what happens if distress is coming upon us? Lord is not merciful at all? Or I am not a devotee?
No, he will be merciful to everyone.
Yes. So we have to again understand that yes, He is merciful to everyone. I just have to tolerate. The past time when Prabhupada was once traveling, I think from Mauritius to South Africa, and there was a rugby team in the same plane, and Prabhupada was sitting in a non-smoking zone. So, the rugby players are rugby players, so after some time, even though they were in non-smoking zone, just a few seats behind Prabhupada, they started smoking. And so Prabhupada's servant, I don't know who he was, he went and, told the air hostess that please can you request them. It's a non-smoking place. And, so the air hostess went and requested them to stop smoking. So for a while, a couple of them just stopped. But after a few minutes, again they started. They are who they are. And then this devotee got very upset, very agitated, thinking that, I'm getting disturbed, Prabhupada is getting disturbed, so he has to do something. And then he was just about to get up, and Prabhupada looked at him, said, what are you trying to do? He said, no, I'm just going to tell them. He says, no, just tolerate. Otherwise, what is the difference between them and us? So we just have to tolerate if there's any difficulty. But we have to understand the Lord is very merciful. And again, we also understand that if we have to get any knowledge from any place, even dirty place, if something valuable is there, we can get it. Sometimes, we don't want to go to a dirty place. But by providence, if we are there, we can get one of the gurus of Avdut Brahmana, who is again Dattatreya. If we have time, we can discuss today. So he also says that if there's anything valuable, we can pick it up from a dirty place, we should pick it up. One message we also get that for us, because we have the highest truth given to us by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and by Prabhupada, we should actually go to the dirtiest places and give them this message. we go and do the Harinam in places like Fort Ujjwal Valley, in places where there's no Krishna consciousness there's nothing there. And we go and do Harinam, so that in the lowest of the low places, we go and do Harinam and spread the message of Mahaprabhu there. Any questions or comments? Yes, Prabhu?
Scientifically, a boar and a pig are two different species, right? Why is the Lord incarnated as a boar? Why is it sometimes referred to as a pig? Because pig is a more filthier animal. A boar is a wild animal who lives in the jungle.
Yes, that's a good question. I guess, I'm just guessing boar and pig they would have put in the same category. Yes, I get your point that pig is more filthier and boar is generally a wild animal.
Boar has that thing.
Yeah.
The tusk?
That
Okay, and the pig doesn't have the tusk. Yeah, well, probably yes. Yeah. Yes, that might be one of the plausible reasons. Yes.
Pig is a more like a domestic
Yes.
animal and that's a wild animal.
Yes.
So why is it referred as a pig here? In many places, even in classes I've heard referred to as a pig instead of a boar.
Maybe. I guess the distinction won't be that, prominent, so to say. Generally, we use the terms as interchangeable, boar and pig. That's what I would think of. Yeah.
Because the boar has a tusk.
Tusk, yes.
So that Mother Earth can be lifted
Yes.
easily.
Yes,
Maybe
yes, that's what she said,
why.
yes. Amar?
Maybe, you may allow me, maybe boar was used for the functionality and the power that was exercised, and pig was used to reflect the filth.
Okay, there you go. So, some reflection is there, yes. Thank you for the question. Yes, so when we ask questions while studying also, then we can find out, okay, why this? Of course, when we discuss like this, when we are studying on our own, then we have to be very careful as to, can we get this answer verified by someone else?
Is it assumption or is it truth? Like, can
So-
we assume what we think?
No, generally no. Generally what we do is follow scriptures or previous acharyas. Yeah? But if there's someone who's senior, very senior, and they have, say, like for us, Prabhupada's words are scriptures. Because, we know every word is the truth. But for example, if you hear from someone, and if there's still a confusion, then we can clarify our doubt. That, you mentioned this. See the other devotee is asking, where is the reference from? Yeah, where is the reference from?
So probably this English language is pig and boar came later, but Sanskrit says shukar, right?
Yeah,
So what is shukar? Is it a pig or a boar?
I don't know.
Technically, it should be a boar.
Yeah. So technically it should be a board, yes. Yeah. But the message we get is that, when we read and when we study, we should ask these questions, try to find an answer from devotees, senior devotees, and meditate upon the main aspect of the message. Yeah. Otherwise you can easily sidetrack into the technical side without understanding the proper message. Is that true?
One more reflection that we get from this verse is that if the Lord can lift Mother Earth from that filth, He can definitely lift our souls from this filth.
Yes. Yes. Yes, definitely. And that's why, He does what He does. We'll see at the end of the class that how Krishna is so compassionate that He comes down to our level. Yeah? That He can lift us. Yeah. Thank you, Bruce, very much. Wonderful discussion. So 3.8. Tritiyam rishi sargam vahe devarshitvam upayatiyah sa tantram satvatam achachashta neshkarmyam karmanam yata. In the millennium of the rishis, the personality of Godhead accepted the third empowered incarnation in the form of Devarshi Narad, who is a great sage among the demigods. He collected expositions of the Vedas which deal with devotional service and which inspire non-fruitive action. Narad Muni is a very amazing devotee. So who wants to read the purport, please? Can you get the mic? Yes.
The great Rishi Narada, who is an empowered incarnation of the personality of Godhead, propagates devotional service all over the universe. All great devotees of the Lord, all over the universe and in different planets and species of life are his disciples. Srila Vyasadeva, the compiler of the Srimad Bhagavatam, is also one of his disciples. Narada is the author of Narada Pancharatra, which is the composition of the Vedas, particularly for the devotional service of the Lord. This Narada Pancharatra trains the karmis or the fruitive workers to achieve the liberation from the bondage of fruitive work. The conditional souls are mostly attracted by the fruitive work because they want to enjoy life by the sweet sweat of their own brows. The whole universe is full of fruitive workers in all species of life. The fruitive workers include all kinds of economic development plans, but the law of nature provides that every action has its resultant reaction, and the performer of the work is bound by such reactions, good or bad. The reaction of good work is comparative material prosperity, whereas the reaction of bad work is comparative material distress. But material conditions, either in so-called happiness or in so-called distress, are all meant ultimately for distress only. Foolish materialists have no information of how to obtain eternal happiness in the unconditional state. Sri Narada informs these foolish fruitive workers how to realize the reality of happiness. He gives direction to the distressed men of the world how one's present engagement can lead one of the path of the spiritual emancipation. The physician directs the patient to take treated milk in the form of curd for his sufferings from indigestion due to his taking another milk preparation. So the cause of disease and the remedy of the disease may be the same, but it must be treated by an expert physician like Narada. The Bhagavad Gita also gives the same solution of serving the Lord by the fruits of one's labor. This will lead one to the path of Naiskarmya or liberation.
Thank you, Guru. So this is Naiskarmya Karmana Yataha. That yes, whatever karma you're doing, it must be actually Nishkam. And Narad Muni gives us the very simple philosophy. Just as Prabhupada used to use the word dovetail your fruitive work into devotional service. So whatever you're doing, you just dovetail that into. And Prabhupada writes very nicely in the purport here. Narada Pancharatra Vidhi is basically our Vidhi of doing devotional service. And, for all of us, we are like fruitive workers. And what we do is just follow that procedure and change into devotional service. So slowly from the lowest, Sakama Karma, even lower than Sakama Karma, then Nishkam Karma, then Bhakti Yoga, the ladder is there. It's very easy for us to follow. Narad Muni, as we know, is a very amazing devotee. He is a guru of so many devotees like Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruv Maharaj. Wherever there is some leela happening with the Lord, Narad Muni is always there. And then again, when we read scriptures like this, then we understand the qualities, the qualifications of someone like Narad Muni. We used to know the story when Narad Muni, he was a young boy, and his mother used to serve the devotees, and the devotees will stay at their house for 3-4 months when the monsoon season is there, and then he will just get the remnants of the prasadam. And just by eating that prasadam for such a long time, he became such a wonderful devotee. And when he was 5 years old, his mother was going to do some work. A snake bit her, and she left her body. And Narad Muni, because of whatever he had learned, he was not disturbed at all. He said, yes, this is my life. And then from there on, he just started chanting and traveling, and distributing the holy name of the Lord to every place where he is going. And the description is there, very beautiful in the Bhagavatam. His life is given, he tells his life to Vyasadeva. At the end, he tells Vyasadeva that, after I live my life like this, at the end when the final point comes, which is called death. Because for me, it was like how illumination follows lightning. And you see the lightning in the sky, and then after the lightning is there, the clouds are around, and then the illumination is there. So he says, for me, after my death also, whenever I come, it has been in the same spiritual body. So Prabhupada also writes that Narad Muni's body is almost like the Lord's body. He is not material at all. He also describes that at the end of the day of Brahma, when Brahma goes into slumber, Narad Muni is still in the same body, of course, and then when he comes out also he is in the same body. An amazing pastime again given in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where Krishna's daily activities are described. Krishna has married 16,108 wives, and so Narad Muni is a Naistiki Brahmachari. But he's curious to know how is Krishna maintaining 16,000 wives, Even though he's a Brahmachari, he's got no interest in that. But because anything to do with the Lord, so he goes. And we see how there's interaction between the devotee and the Lord happens. Such an amazing pastime that is. If you read that pastime, such a beautiful pastime. So Narad Muni is going into one palace, right? And Krishna is, just getting up. And, he's being fanned by Rukmini. And the moment Krishna sees Narad Muni, he immediately gets up, goes, bows down to Narad Muni, takes his hand, makes him sit on his, his own personal seat, right? He gets water, he bathes his feet, and he says, yes, my Lord, yes, my Master, what can I do for you? This is what quality of Narad Muni is. So we understand that, there is such an affection between the Lord and his devotees. Narad Muni is not ordinary soul. I don't know whether you have been in the generation where you used to see the black and white, those religious movies. Yeah? So how was Narad Muni portrayed there? As a comedian. Most people will think he's a comedian. Right? Most people think, I don't know if anyone remembers. But that's completely wrong, complete misconception. Whereas we see here, Narad Muni is such an affectionate devotee of the Lord. And the Lord has actually given him, full authority, full power to travel anywhere. And again, when we read something like Srimad Bhagavatam, then we see Narad Muni can go from anywhere to anywhere. And then wherever he goes, he's treated with so much love, so much respect, so much affection. And when he goes to search the recipient for the highest mercy of the Lord, he goes to Prahlad Maharaj, and Prahlad Maharaj is his student, right? But Narad Muni is so happy to see Prahlad Maharaj. And he says, Prahlad is in his meditation, but if I go there, my problem is that I will not be able to stop singing and dancing and all that, and he will know that I have come here. So he will be disturbed. So Narad Muni is very hesitant in approaching his own student. But then when Prahlad sees Narad Muni, then he is also equally joyful. So this is, what Narad Muni teaches us. That yes, we each convert from our level of, fruitive work into devotional work, and then slowly, we rise in our devotional service. So one time Prabhupada, he was, in the beginning days, he was, doing kirtan, and the devotees were there, and the hall was empty, not many people, and the devotees were getting a bit, not happy. And they were saying, Prabhupada, no one is coming. Prabhupada said, did you see Narad Muni? Did you see Brahmaji? Did you see, Surya? Everyone is here because when the Lord's name is being chanted, Bhaktivinoda Thakur actually sings in his Namashtakam. It says, Narad Muni Bajai Veena Radhika Raman Rame. That whenever Narad Muni is playing his Veena, in the Kirtan, the Lord himself comes, Srimati Radharani herself comes, in the form of the holy name. This afternoon we have in Kirtan, We'll see that when we immerse ourselves in the kirtan, you don't worry about anything else this evening. Here, close your eyes, chant. Many times, people come for, some like celebrity devotees to hear. But when any devotee who's singing with their heart, when we come and just sit down and close our eyes, hear and chant together, Krishna is present. Narad Muni is present, Brahma is present. So in that kirtan, this evening, of course, Narad Muni will also be there. So, there are many aspects we can speak about Narad Muni, but we're not going to go into detail because, these will be covered in the 5th chapter of the same canto. Any comments or reflections, Prabhu?
Just a quick question, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
They say there are multiple billions of universes
Mhm.
with Brahma presiding over each of them.
Mhm.
So are there multiple Narad Rishis and Lord Shiva as well?
Multiple Narad Rishis and Lord Shiva? I guess so, yes. Because, Shiva would be there. Narad Muni,
Brahma is there.
Brahma is there, of course. But Brahma is up to Jiva Tattva. So, Narad Muni, I have to find out. I don't speculate here, sitting here in the Vyasasan.
Different questions.
No, these are questions we also need to meditate upon. That, when the questions come up, what we have to look for the answers.
And why do our scriptures mainly talk only about the four-headed Brahma?
That's our Brahma, that's
Our
why.
Brahma.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
But also, the description is given in that, the Leela where Brahma goes to meet Krishna. So we also know. One thing we have to understand that there are a lot of pastimes given in the Bhagavatam. Some of them are in very brief. Some of them are very brief. So, the explanation is given that because Bhagavatam only deals with the highest, and slowly it takes us from where we are to the highest platform of loving devotional service to the divine couple in Vrindavan. That's why some of the things they have not given in detail. Like all these pastimes are here. Even Lord Ram's Leelas is not very elaborate discussed in Bhagavatam. It's very brief.
There's around 9,990 different versions of Ramayana, and actually Sukadeva Goswami mentions this somewhere, saying that the Lord Ramachandra's pastimes are so vast, if I start elaborating, 7
Yes.
days will be going in that way.
Yes.
That's why he reduced it to
Yeah.
only one chapter.
Yes, so same thing happens when, you have to understand that Bhagavatam was spoken when only 7 days they had. So, both Parikshit and Sukdev had to be very precise, right? He didn't allow any questions to be asked. I'm just kidding. Okay. 1.3.9. In the 4th incarnation, the Lord became Nar and Narayan, the twin sons of the wife of King Dharma. Thus he undertook severe and exemplary penances to control. And Rishi came for a different purpose. So again, a function is given here. So Mataji, you need the purport, please.
As King Rishabha advises his sons, tapasya or voluntary acceptance of penance or for realization of the transcendence is the only duty of the human being. It was so done by the Lord himself in an exemplary manner to teach us. The Lord is very kind to the forgetful souls. He therefore comes himself and leaves behind necessary instructions and also sends his good sons as representatives to call all the conditioned souls back to Godhead. Recently, within the memory of everyone, Lord Chaitanya also appeared for the same purpose, to show special favor to fallen souls of this age of iron industry. The incarnation of Narayana is worshipped still at Bhadari Narayana on the range of the Himalayas.
Yes. So, in the 11th canto again, the detailed description of Nar Narayan Rishi is given. As Prabhupada says, that Nar Narayan Rishi is still in Badrikashram, present now. So we heard in the previous verse that Narada is teaching us the message of Naishkarmyam, and this message was again given by Nar-Narayan Rishi to Narad Muni when Narad Muni met Nar-Narayan Rishi. So Nar-Narayan Rishi, they were twins born from Dharma and Murti. Murti is the daughter of Daksha, and Dharma is Yamaraj, Dharmaraj himself. So Dharmaraj and Murti, they had twins, Nar and Narayan. And who is Nar? Arjuna is Nar and Narayan is Krishna. So just imagine, to do this function, Krishna comes as a twin brother of an ordinary jiva. Just understand this compassion. He can do anything, but he still comes as the twin brother of just an ordinary soul. And then he teaches the teachings of Naishkarmyam. In the first canto again we'll see very nicely Narad Muni tells Vyasdev, says, Naishkarmyam api achyut bhava varjitam na shobhate jnanam alam niranjam kutah punah sashva abhadram ishware na charpitam karmayad api akaranam. So very nicely it is said that, when we talk of jnana and karma, so Narad Muni tells, knowledge of self-realization, even though free from all material affinity, you don't have any material attachment, but you're still trying to get knowledge of the Lord, right? He says, even that knowledge does not look well. Now, please understand this very carefully while we are studying this. Because from now on, we have to understand that, yes, while we are studying Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, there will be services available also. So physical services, how we just saw that our Naishkarmyam has to be converted into a devotional service. So while we are studying this, it is also a devotional service, yes. But let us not take it as just getting knowledge to understand Krishna. Why? Because Narad Muni says here that knowledge of self-realization, even though free from all material affinity, does not look well if devoid of a conception of the infallible Lord. So if it is any knowledge, if you're trying to get karma yoga, jnana yoga, dhyana yoga, any kind you want to do, but if it is not upasana, if it is not bhakti, then it has got no value. And it says, forget about jnana yoga. What then is the use of fruitive activities when we just do, karma all the time, which are naturally painful from the very beginning and transient by nature. Karma yoga, Narad Muni describes as painful by their very nature. Just imagine this, whatever we are doing is painful, yes. At the end of half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours, we're just getting tired. It's painful from the very beginning and transient by nature. It is transient. So what fruitive activities are painful and transient, and if they are not utilized for the devotional service of the Lord, what is the point? It does not go well. So again he is saying that the jnana yoga or the karma yoga has to be converted into bhakti yoga. We have to attach it to the love of devotion, the love of the Lord. So Prabhupada very nicely writes here, please hear me carefully. I'm going to read this from this 11th canto purport, first canto. Prabhupada says, fruitive work in which almost all people in general are engaged, right? And here also we saw the same thing when the description Narad Muni was there, that fruitive work, everyone is involved. And is always painful either in the beginning or at the end. It can be fruitful only when made subservient to the devotional service of the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita also it is confirmed that the result of such fruitive work may be offered for the service of the Lord. Yat karoshi yad asnasi yad juhoshi tasiyat yat tapasvasi konteya tat kurushu madarpanam. Otherwise it leads to material bondage. The bona fide enjoyer of the fruitive work is the personality of Godhead, and thus when it is engaged for the sense gratification of the living beings, it becomes an acute source of trouble. Just imagine that. So Narayan Rishi is actually coming here to teach us this message of Naishkarmyam. And also there was very nice pastime. There was of course when Krishna comes, in incarnation comes, there's some drama, there has to be some nice demon there, more the anger, more the drama, more the fun. So there's a demon, his name is Dambudbhava. Dambha. Dambha means pride. Dambha means pride. So, of course, as we know, he was born of pride. And he was a completely demoniac person. So he just goes around, torments everyone. Then he comes to Badrikashram. And then, while he's tormenting everyone here, Murti, Narayan Rishi's mother, she goes to the Lord. And she says, please Lord, you have to help me out. And he says, okay, don't worry, I'll come. And then he comes in her womb as Narayan Rishi. So then Dambha is coming to Badrikashram, and Nara, he is coming out. Nara is none other than Arjun himself. So Arjun is coming out, and he tries to stop Dambha. Dambha is very enraged. He says, so far no one has been able to stop me. Who are you? So Nara said, that's okay, but now I'm here, so don't worry. And before that, Dambha, he wanted, as other demons, immortality. And he is praying to Suryadev, like Hiranyakashipu is praying to Brahmaji. And after long penances, then he says to Suryadev, please give me immortality. Suryadev says, Arey bhaiya, mere paas bhi nahi hai. How can I give it to you? Even I don't have immortality. So it's okay. Then he, like the cunning intelligence, he says, give me a boon where he asked for 1,000 armors. I mean, for me, when I was reading this, I was thinking, 1,000 armors, how can you bear also? So he's saying, okay, give me 1,000 armors. And if someone wants to pierce one armor, they have to first do austerity for 1,000 years. Then they have to fight with me for 1,000 years. And if one armor is gone, then that person dies. So basically, by doing this arrangement, I am going to be immortal. No one can do that, right? First of all, no one will do that for 1,000 years. And then, they won't be able to fight for 1,000 years. And even if they fight and one kavacha is broken, then they'll die. No one there. So Nara, he says, okay, let's fight. So then, he says, yeah, but you have to first perform your 1,000 years austerity. So that's all right, my brother is doing it. So Narayan is doing the austerities. And Nara is fighting here. So 1,000 years, they fight. And after that, the kavach is pierced. The kavach is gone. And then of course, Nara has to die. So he becomes unconscious. And then, the demon says, okay, fine. But there he sees other personality coming in. Who's that? Narayan. So Narayan doesn't come to the demon. He goes to Nara. And he chants the Mrita Sanjeevani mantra in his ear. So then Nara revives again. So now you do tapasya, I'll fight with him. Then he fights with him 1,000 years. And then they keep on rotating like that. 99 kavachas are pierced like that. Imagine, long battle is going on. And then, the demon, one armor only left. And he says, now, no chance. Then he runs away from that place. And then the Lord says, okay, this is like, we have to do, bring a permanent solution to this. Then he goes to Suryadev. Then Suryadev, you have to, and this guy goes to Suryadev for protection. And Suryadev, Narayan goes, he says, you have to give your disciple to us here to continue the battle. Suryadev says, no, he's come to me for protection. You know my Lord, I have to also follow my dharma. So ultimately then the arrangement happens that, and who comes as Karna. So then Karna, because he knew that, Indra knew that even if Arjun kills Karna with that kavach on, right, Arjun will die. So then he goes as a Brahmana in a disguise and asks for the charity, and Karna being very charitable, because on one hand he has got the demoniac quality, but on the other hand he's got the magnanimity of Suryadev also. So he gives in charity the kavach, and then he becomes invincible like that. So very nice story where Nar and Narayan are again showing some juice of Leela to us like that. We go to verse number 10. Of course, the pastime of Narayana Rishi is very elaborately described in 11th canto. They come quite regularly at the time of the annihilation. Keshini, you want to lead us for the 10th verse? Okay, I'll try first and then you can try. Panchamaha Kapilo Nama Siddheshah Kala Viplutam Provacha Suraye Sankyam Tattvagrama Vinirnayam Panchamaha Kapilo Nama Siddhesha Kala Viplutam Provacha Suraye Sankyam Tattvagrama Vinirnayam. Anyway. Panchamaha Kapilo Nama Siddheshah Kala Viplutam Provacha Surye Sankyam Tattvagrama Vinirnayam. Triveni Mata, you read the translation in purport, please.
Purport.
Translation first.
The fifth incarnation, named Lord Kapila, is foremost among perfect beings. He gave an exposition of the creature elements and metaphysics to Asura Brahmana, for in course of time this knowledge has been lost.
Purport.
The sum total of the creative elements in 24 in all, each and every one of them is explicitly explained in the system of Shankhaya philosophy. Shankhaya philosophy is generally called metaphysics by the European scholars. The etymological meaning of Shankhaya is that which explains very lucidly by analysis of material elements. This was done for the first time by Lord Kapila, who is said herein to be the fifth in the line of incarnations.
So again, this is a very brief description of Lord Kapila, and in the third canto, very, very amazing description of the Sankhya philosophy is given. We know Sankhya also means number, right? So Sankhya means to analyze properly. So if you have a very big project, so what you do is just break up into small projects and explain it, and then perform it like that. So Kapila Dev also does the same thing to Mother Devhuti, that very nicely explains, how so many aspects of our existence, of our liberation, of our final goal is describing in wonderful ways. And third canto describes this in very much detail. Someone who's got that analytical mind, even if you don't have that, but you must study that, because that will make our foundation very, very clear as to why we should be doing certain things. Mother Devhuti, Kapil Dev is speaking to his mother, Mother Devhuti. She is glorifying the Lord. Very, very popular verse. Aho bata swapachota garyan ya jivvagre vartate nama tubhyam tepus tapas te juhuvu shashnurarya brahmanuchur nam grinantiyete. So Devhuti says, how glorious are they whose tongues are chanting your holy name. So when we chant the holy name, Mother Devhuti is glorifying those tongues. Even if born in the family of dog eaters, such persons are worshipable. Just imagine that. Someone who's chanting the holy name, doesn't worry where do you come from, what's your background. And that is why Prabhupada, he did not worry where he's going to go. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, he doesn't see whether you are qualified or not qualified, whether this is the right place or not right place, whether it's the right time or not right time. Yes, we have to chant the holy name of the Lord. You have to give the holy name of the Lord. And that is why for us, when we progress in spirituality, chanting our daily rounds is the most important instruction which we get from the spiritual master. So while we are studying, we must also take up the process of chanting every day. If you're chanting 1 round, we can go to 2 rounds. If you're chanting 2, go to 4. Slowly, we progress like that. So here he says, persons who chant the holy name of your Lordship must have executed all kinds of austerities and fire sacrifices and achieve all the good manners of the Aryans. So someone who's chanting the holy name regularly, they've done everything. Done sacrifices, done austerities, they've got all the good manners of the Aryans. To be chanting the holy name of your Lordship, they must have bathed at holy places of pilgrimage, studied the Vedas, and fulfilled everything required. So imagine how fortunate are we. Have you bathed in all the holy rivers, Mataji? Have you studied all the Vedas? Have you been to all the tirthas? No. Yes, we have been. Just when we chant the holy name, that means we have done all those things. But again, the quality has to come. And it is described that just by chanting one holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, we can eradicate all the sinful reactions, whatever we have performed. Mountains and mountains of sins we have performed will be eradicated. But then you can say, hey, I've been chanting so many times, nothing's happened. So, now the thing is, with the chanting, the quality also has to be there. And it's described that just one name, where we genuinely cry for the Lord, to achieve to that name, we have to chant regularly, every day in a disciplined manner. So when we chant every day, one day will come when we'll be sitting in our room, sitting in our office, wherever, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. And tears will be flowing from our eyes in separation of the Lord, in association of the Lord. Tears will be flowing. So for that name to come, we have to chant on a regular basis. So this is, Mother Devhut is glorifying Kapil Dev.
Where can I find that information?
This one, 333.7, 333.7. Yeah. So Kapil Dev is very wonderfully describing, the glories of devotional service, how devotional service is so glorified. He's describing the fundamental principles of material nature, that what are the principles, how, the different elements there, as we saw in this verse, 24 elements are there, how they are divided, how, they entangle us. Understanding of material nature is given. Then how do we execute our devotional service? Glories of devotional service is there, and how do we execute them? How he has explained the devotional service very nicely. He's also given us, okay, if you don't want to do devotional service, what are the adverse effects of fruitive activities? Sometimes people say, I don't want to do it. Fine. You don't do that, but at least you understand that what you are doing, what result it is going to come up with. Yeah. So when we try to explain people, this is what the benefit of coming to Bhakti Yoga is. It's so nice. People are already attracted like that. So Kapil Dev, he comes up with very wonderful words. So please repeat after me. Satam prasangam mama virya samvido. So satam prasangam mama virya samvido. Satam prasangam mama virya samvido. Bhavanti Ritkarna Rasayana Katha.
Bhavanti Ritkarna Rasayana.
So Bhavanti Rit Karna Rasayana Katha. So he says, in the heart, the rasayan, the tonic of the katha is entering the heart through the ears. Bhavanti Ritkarna Rasayana Katha.
Bhavanti Ritkarna Rasayana Katha.
Tajjoshana Daswa Pavarga Vartmani.
Tajoshanadashvavargyavartmani.
Tajjoshana Daswa Pavarga Vartmani.
Tajoshanadashvavargyavartmani.
Shraddha Ratir Bhaktir Anukrameshyati.
Shraddharatir bhaktir anukrameshyati.
Shraddha Ratir Bhaktir Anukrameshyati.
Shraddharatir bhaktir anukrameshyati.
So Shraddha, Kapil Dev says, in the association of pure devotees, discussion of the pastimes and activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very pleasing and satisfying to the ear and heart. Swadu Swadu Pade Pade, it's always pleasing to the ear and the heart. By cultivating such knowledge, one gradually becomes advanced on the path of liberation and thereafter is freed and his attraction becomes fixed. Then real devotional and real devotional service begin. So Shraddha, Ratir, Bhakti, Anukramishati. Anukram means respectively. So first happens Shraddha. So we all have Shraddha, so we are here. Then slowly, Rati will happen. That means we want to come more and more and more. Right? And then Bhakti will happen. Slowly the devotional service will, start to manifest. So Shraddha, Ratir, Bhakti, Anukramishati. How does it happen? When we hear the activities, the pastimes, the Nama, Rupa, Guna, Leela of the Supreme Lord Krishna in association of pure devotees like Prabhupada. So right now, we are actually associating directly with Srila Prabhupada. Yes, Prabhupada is telling us, as we said, he told Bhakti Charu Maharaj, that my purports are like I'm speaking to you directly. So if you understand that Prabhupada is telling us directly, then we have to study the scriptures. So Kapil Dev, he glorifies, he of course breaks up the whole package, unpacks it for us. That's your material activities. That's your fruitive activities. This is your material nature. This is your devotional service, the glories of devotional service. Now you go through this, you understand yourself, right? How do we make a decision? How do people take an informed decision? When you have all the information in front of you, right? So, does any one of you have to report to someone, like in work? So how does the reporting happen? Now, do you understand what that reporting is for? You have to understand, yes. But then you still do not understand at that level or at a higher level or even the highest level how that reporting is going to be affected. But what our job is just to give that information in a proper manner. As they say, all data is not information. All information is not knowledge. And all knowledge is not wisdom. So, Kapila Dev is giving us this wisdom here, properly analyzed. That here you have the data, which I am making it into information, proper information is given. But that information has to be converted into knowledge, and that knowledge has to be converted into wisdom. So that wisdom is given to us by Kapil Dev in the what we call Sankhya philosophy. Any questions or any reflections? So what message do we get from Kapil Dev's life? Whatever we have discussed, little we have discussed. Anyone? Are we hungry? Not yet, right? 20 minutes still to go. What message or what reflection do you get from the life of Kapil Dev, whatever we have discussed? Of course, we have not discussed in detail, but from the Sankhya philosophy basics, what message can we get? Try to break up your life, your daily activities, and see when I have a diary, only of course I can understand, no one else can understand. But in my diary, then at the end of the day and the end of the week, I actually see when I've written how much is relating to material life and how much is relating to devotional service. And out of that, how much is relating to direct devotional service and how much to indirect devotional service. And of course, I want to keep that as a secret. So, when we analyze our lives, our daily activities, our thought process, that slowly are we progressing towards the love of Godhead, towards our goal of bhakti. So we may have many, many allurements, many, many attractions. It is not that Arjun was, bewildered because of allurements. No, he was beyond that. Arjun was allured, he was bewildered because of confusion. Right? So in our case also, when we are confused as to what should we do, whether should I do this or should I do that, that is the point where we have to use Sankhya Yoga. That, yes, as I always quote my spiritual master, he says, keep your weaknesses at the back of your mind and keep your service at the front of your mind. So if you have any service, keep in the front of your mind. Whatever is required. Viras Krishna Prabhu, he has been doing it for the last 4 weeks. Friday evening late, Saturday evening late, Sunday morning Bhagavatam class. He is there first. Now don't you think he's getting tired? His mind is telling, no, today if you don't go, it's okay. No, it's been happening. But he analyzes it and says, no, I must go. So like that, if we analyze our own activities on a daily basis, then we see, yes, where am I going to get the long-term benefit for my soul? Mind will tell you, 5 more minutes, 10 more minutes, aaj nahi jayenge chalega. Today if I don't go, it's okay. But if you just put in that in the beginning effort, as Keshav Maharaj very nicely says, the difference between material life and spiritual life is the bed and the bathroom. If you're lying on the bed, that's your material life. But if you get up, put that effort and you're getting ready, that's your spiritual life. So that's the difference we have to understand in every aspect of our life, and that's our Sankhya philosophy at our level. Yeah?
Just a humble conclusion. When we are shift workers, let's shift to that. We have to start early in the morning, then no matter what, we'll jump out of the bed.
Yes.
Yes.
But it's a material objective.
Yes. Yes.
So if we perceive things in the same perspective,
Yes. Very good.
there is no priority above this priority.
Yes. Very good.
This function,
Yes.
the body will get used to it.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And the mind also.
Yes.
Mind will go down like the master go down.
Yes. 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 So we have to understand that where am I getting the maximum benefit for the soul?
It's no compromise there.
Yes, we have to do that. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. Nice reflection. So 1.3.11. Santosh, will you read the translation, please?
The sixth incarnation of the
Mike, please. Mike.
From the bottom, hold it for a second.
The sixth incarnation of the Purusha was the son of the sage Atri. He was born from the womb of Anusuya, who prayed for an incarnation. He spoke on the subject of transcendence to Alarka, Prahlada, and others, Yadu, Hayaya, etc. Purport. The Lord incarnated himself as Dattatreya, the son of Rishi Atri and Anusuya. The history of the birth of Dattatreya as an incarnation of the Lord is mentioned in the Brahmanda Purana in connection with the story of the devoted wife. It is said there that Anusuya, the wife of Rishi Atri, prayed before the Lord Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva as follows: My Lord, if you are pleased with me and if you desire me to ask from you some sort of blessings, then I pray that you combine together to become my son. This was accepted by the Lords, and as Dattatreya, the Lord expounded the philosophy of the spirit soul and especially instructed Alarka, Prahlada, Yadu, Hayaya, etc.
Yes, so here Dattatreya is given the combined form of Lord Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. Also it's mentioned that Anasuya, she had Soma, Dattatreya, Durvasa. So Soma is the representation of Brahma, Dattatreya is of Vishnu, and Durvasa is of Lord Shiva. Dattatreya again is not mentioned in detail here again because Dattatreya's function was very different, and Bhagavatam only describes something which is taking us to the highest level of the love of Godhead. And Sridhar Swami, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, one of our acharyas, he quotes Sridhar Swami, the original commentator of Srimad Bhagavatam, that the Avadhuta Brahmana who's mentioned later on in the Bhagavatam is Lord Dattatreya himself. And he goes around and he instructs, not instructs actually, King Yadu is asking, this is Krishna telling the story to Uddhava about how Yadu Maharaj, he asked the Avadhuta Brahmana. He is also known as Avanti Brahmana. And so Avadhuta Brahmana is a Brahmana who's very carefree, very happy all the time. And King Yadu is asking him, how come? I have everything, but I'm not as happy as you are. And you have nothing, and you are as happy as you can be. So Avadhuta Brahman gives him very, very amazing one verse here. It says, the Brahman tells Yadu Maharaj. Now, of course, we know the story that he has 24 gurus, different gurus, which has Python, pigeon, prostitute, and Mother Earth. So many gurus are there. So here he says, I have had many teachers. I have had many teachers, all of whom have taken a precedence in my intelligence. So he is actually learning from all these 24 gurus, and he says that these gurus have taken residence in my intelligence. By making use of this intelligence, I am now able to wander through this world in complete liberty. So this is what Dattatreya is teaching us. This is what Avadhuta Brahmana is teaching us. That if we try to learn from all these gurus, and Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada's Guru Maharaj, he gives a very nice angle to this. He gives a very nice angle. So he says, ordinary jivas who have no interest in serving Krishna look upon the various objects in the universe in terms of their ability to exercise mastery over them. So basically, you want to enjoy everything, control everything. Right? If there's a tree there, I want to get fruit out of that. I want to get shade out of that. But I don't want to learn. The tree is teaching me tolerance. I don't want to learn that. But can I get something from it? So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he tells us, yes, jivas just want to exercise their mastery over these objects, with the intent of achieving the various goals of human life, increase the length of their lives, their fame and beauty, and so on. However, Avadhuta had a completely different approach to the world. The Avadhuta Brahmana had a completely different approach. When Yadu saw this, he asked why. In answer, said, I have given up looking on the world with a view to accepting or rejecting things in terms of their potential as sense objects. That's what we do. We see everything as a potential for our sense objects. Does anyone here not like bhindi? Karela? Anyone? Yeah. So if you don't like that, that means you are going to treat that, with aversion. Yes. So we treat everything what we have with which is giving us pleasure or not giving us pleasure. Even when we are discussing these paintings, we had 3 or 4 of us and discussing, so each one will give opinion, no, this is okay, this is not okay. But we are not thinking what will please the Lord, what will please. we're all thinking, okay, this looks okay, this doesn't look okay, whatever it is. Yes, of course, they look beautiful, they're all, like completely spiritual. But then we still have that our own, conditioning. So, we see every object as a potential for either our sense gratification, or if it's not there, we'll reject it. But Avadhuta Brahmana said, no, can every object be my teacher? So he says, instead I look upon them as teachers who can give me guidance. Other people are deprived of service to the Guru because they are on the mental platform. I, on the other hand, wander through the world taking shelter of fixed intelligence. I have thus been able to find 24 Gurus who have helped me to cross various obstacles so that I can attain loving service to the Supreme Lord. So Prabhupada teaches us this philosophy of Yukta Vairagya, that everything can be used in Krishna's service. So here I would end with just saying that, we think that Krishna, he takes so many incarnations, so much hard work he does for us. But actually the Shastra describe that no, Krishna doesn't doing any hard work. He says, Natasya karyam karanam cha vidyate, natat samascha vyadikascha drishyate, parasya shaktir vividha vrashrute, swabhaviki jnana bala kriyacha. This Krishna, all his energies are working for him. He does not have to do anything. So if we meditate, if we study the scriptures properly, we can understand that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer, and all what we are supposed to do is to give him the facility of enjoying with the devotees. So when we read these scriptures, we find the motivation in our lives. We can find Krishna in our lives. Reading of scriptures actually becomes oil in the lamp of our chanting. So when we chant nicely, we can meditate on these things. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says very nicely that when we are chanting our rounds, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. So Radha and Krishna, they are coming. Are we welcoming them? Are we worshipping them? Are we taking care of them? If we think that this is the process I have to just finish, then that will be it. It will be just a process that you finish. I've got other more important things to do. But when we chant and we understand through the scriptures that this is, the holy name is Krishna, can I learn from all the objects? Can I just use my life in service of the Lord? Then our reading of scriptures, our chanting, everything becomes meaningful, and our life actually becomes very happy and blissful. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So any questions or comments? Any reflections?
I have a question. It's a little bit off the topic. We discussed Narayan and Karna as the Sahasra Kavach demon. There's often a debate as to who was a better warrior, Karna or Arjuna. And they say that Arjuna was empowered by Krishna, that is why he managed to kill Karna, otherwise he would not have managed. What's your opinion on that?
Yes, because he was empowered by Krishna, he could kill Karna. Even though Karna, there are many times we see also that many people on material level, they can be on a higher level. But ultimately, who has taken shelter of Krishna? And who has taken shelter of Krishna completely? That will depend on that will determine the success of that person's endeavors. So yes, anyone, even in our life we can learn the lesson that even though materially we might not have anything, but have we taken shelter of Krishna? So, ultimately, that way you can say, Duryodhana was a very amazing king. All the material facilities were there in his kingdom. But what happened at the end? No? Gone. You see those arguments between the Pandavas, but you hardly hear any argument between the Kauravas. What happened at the end? So, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partha Dhanurdhara.
Also, I guess Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, among the Pandavas, I am Arjuna. He doesn't mention Karna.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. And he says, among the rishis I am Narad. So yes, among the rishis I am Narad. So yeah, we take side of Krishna and success happens.
Okay, I got a question.
Yes, Prabhu.
Probably there is like all these devotees in the past, they actually do worship for tapasya or whatever for some reason, right? To get some blessing from either Brahma or something. Here, Lucia, wife of Rishi Yatri, why is she asking maintainer, creator, and a destroyer at one time?
Ladies' minds are very intriguing, right? So now, I don't know the actual pastime where, what led her to, do you know the pastime where, what it led to, she asking for Brahma? Because like how, when Krishna also comes, like as Prishni Garbha, Sutapa and Prishni, they were asking for the Lord to come as the son. But I don't know why 3 of them. Now, again, when Draupadi gets 5 husbands, so she's in her haste, she's asking for 5 times. I don't know whether, do you know this Leela Prabhu? Where Anasuya is asking why Brahma, Shiva and Vishnu together? Oh, sorry Prabhu.
There was a pastime where she is actually challenged to see another man naked. That's why she asked the Lord to become her child, so as a child she could see a male naked.
But why 3 together?
Yeah, that I don't know.
Okay, yeah. So we can find out.
I think they all came together in front of her, and that's when I think that's the thing happened. They all
We need to just find an authorized version somewhere, yeah. Yeah.
Maybe it was some benediction where she could witness all these in the same birth lifetime.
But again,
instead of taking different lifetimes.
we should find something authorized. Yeah. Okay, Vinod Prabhu, hear something?
Mine was off topic, Prabhu. These demons, when they talk in Bhagavatam, where do they come from? Do they come from the lower planets or from the...
Yeah, so in those days the interplanetary travel was easy, because they had the powers. So as you can see, Dambhodava, Hiranyakashipu, he was like going everywhere. He could control everywhere. So they were able to travel within the interplanetary system. I mean, we think Richard Branson is the only one doing it now, but it was there before also, and that was a common thing. Narad Muni also used to travel in every place. Yeah. So Prabhupada ki, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande. Srila Prabhupada ki, Jai. So see you in the evening from 2 o'clock to 8 o'clock. There's an opportunity here. You have many things to do, but this is the most important thing.